Welcome to Loud Poets. Please clap your hands, stamp your feet, and make some noise for your host and compere, Kevin McLean.
Hello, and welcome to Loud Poets! Oh, it is good to be here on a Friday night. Thank you so much for coming along. My name is Kevin McLean. I will be your host for this evening. What a beautiful, beautiful crowd. There's so many of you. Hey, give me a little cheer if you have been to a Loud Poets show before. The regulars down the front in the splash zone. I love to see it. Good. Hey, give me a little cheer if you have never been to a Loud Poets show before. You could hear the fear just a little bit, right? Just like a little taste of it. Good. Well, thank you so much for making the choice. Whether you have been a million times, whether this is your first time, it means the world to us that you've come along, especially when there are like 3,500 other shows you could go and see. August is the time I'm like, it's really nice that you came. We always appreciate it, but August especially so. We are doing a much more kind of limited run this year at Fringe. We're only kind of doing 3 shows because we have a huge slam at the end of the month with Edinburgh International Book Festival. But don't worry, I will plug as the evening goes on. It's going to be good. Is everyone having a good Fringe? Yeah. One person went, yeah. Which is exactly the tone you should have for a good Fringe. Like, yeah, but I'm kind of fucking over it. Who give me the yeah? You think, yeah. The tone suggests it was. What's the best thing you've seen so far? Oh, Mythos Ragnarok, absolutely. For those that don't know, have we got any wrestling fans in the house? Wow. I'm going to clue you in right now. That often doesn't happen at a poetry show. That is a weird ratio of wrestling fans. Hey, if you've not seen it, Mythos Ragnarok is an incredible show. It's the story of like Norse myth of like Thor, but done through wrestling. It's fucking amazing. If you're here as those like 4 poetry wrestling fans, that's for you. Go and see that, absolutely. Well, we will. I don't know if we're going to be able to top Mythos Ragnarok. I'm going to have to like body slam Colin later. That'll be a surprise for him. So have you been at poetry shows before? Yes. You have your own one? Well, fuck it. Plug it. What is it?
Include section is at the Brass Monkey at 12:15 every day till the 14th. I've only got 3 shows left.
Well, I don't know if it's good or not, but go fucking see it anyway. Yeah. That is the very nature of Fringe. Go and see stuff. Is that with Free Fringe? Yeah. Oh, we love the Free Fringe. Go and support the Free Fringe. We are very lucky here at Loud Poets to have this beautiful stage and theatre. We have been here with the Storytelling Centre for a long, long time. Not a lot of poets get that opportunity. So please do go and support them. The PBH Free Fringe does amazing work for poets. Go check out Section. Yeah, awesome. Well, for our show, I should get into that just rather than plugging random shows that have nothing to do with us. I'm just excited for Fringe. Well, what we do, if you've never been to see us before, we have 4 incredible poets for you this evening. We're going to bring them all on one by one to introduce themselves by way of poem, and then we will jump into a little game we like to call Poetry Jukebox, where we will throw some random prompts at our acts, and then we will finish off with some feature sets where they get to display their poetic prowess for all of you. Does that sound like fun? Thank fuck. Good. Well, I will waste no more time. I'm going to get our first act on. I saw him for the first time last year at the Edinburgh Fringe. I'm so excited to get him back. You will see more of him as the night goes on. I'll plug his shows and all that. But for now, just sit back and enjoy the wonderful Ben Macpherson!
Hello, my darlings. How are we doing? The first thing we heard, wonderful. I'm going to start off with a poem. Are we sitting comfortably? Good. Are we sitting up straight? No. Fuck off, we're poet audience. This is a cautionary tale. Here's a little trigger warning for body horror. Can you recall Joshua Waite, who'd never, ever stand up straight? He was a boy like boys you know, but always kept his shoulders low. If running round or on the couch, young Joshua would always slouch. One day, Mum said, "It's about time to have a doctor check his spine." To find out this malefactor, they met with a chiropractor. This doctor knew a special trick to make Joshua's spine go click. She tried her best. She went chartreuse, but what she did was little use, for even though he went crack, crack, Josh always chose to bend right back. Mum, who had felt loster, worrying about his posture. And each day as Josh's shoulder slumps, Mama would feel down in the dumps. One day, after his deepest slouch, Joshua started crying, ouch. He tried his best to stand up straight, but simply could not elevate as turn by turn his vertebrae abandoned him and went away. And one by one, his many bones each vanished from their normal homes. After 10 minutes, maybe more, Joshua flopped down on the floor, and seeing him, you could not guess the boy was now this squiggling mess. But Mother knew, as mothers do. Together she put two and two, through tears cried, "Oh, bless his cotton socks," and scooped him up into a box. She sadly said, "Oh, what are the odds?" and stored him by Dad's fishing rods. Then, needing a pick-me-upper, nipped off for a cake and cuppa. Upon returning from her scone, she found that Joshua had gone. Strap in. Mum could not see how she'd missed him, lacking his skeletal system. She searched the house. She made a tip. Dad came back from his fishing trip. And hurriedly Mum then explained, as Dad's expression grew quite pained. Said Father, who was red of face, "I've used our son to catch a place. For when I looked inside that tub, I thought it was a massive grub. So, stand up tall lest you may turn into a spineless wriggling worm." That's what befell Joshua Waite, who ended up as fishing bait.
Give him a Ben Macpherson! Ben has his show also as part of the PBH Free Fringe. Serious Nonsense for Terribly Grown-Up People is the name of the show, which I think after seeing him makes a lot of sense. Guys, we roll on with someone else who is doing Free Fringe. We're very excited to have him here. I saw him just the other night at Gubsmack and was absolutely blown away. I'm so excited to have him on a Loud Poet stage. Please go wild for Jonathan Kinsman!
Hello. It's nice to be here, and thank you so much for having me. This poem owes a debt of gratitude to a fella called Jim Steinman. Give us a cheer if you know who Jim Steinman is. We're the same. Jim Steinman is the guy behind Meatloaf. He wrote the songs for Bat Out of Hell. Meatloaf just performed them. He also wrote for Bonnie Tyler and Celine Dion, among others. And this owes a debt to a spoken word piece of his called Love and Death and an American Guitar. This one's called Ars Poetica, which is a term which really means a poetic manifesto. I will tell you everything. I will speak in precise details as if this is how it really happened. I was virgin as a fresh page, and I once killed a poem with a ballpoint pen. I don't remember if it was a villanelle or an epic, but I do remember the sudden gush of inky menarche. I don't remember if it was an ode or an apology, but I do remember the words tumbling over the cliff of my lips, these hunks of sweating meat requiring reassembly as I stitched the monster into being. My hands hemorrhaged, a blasphemous stigmata, and the blood was a spray of pomegranate seeds. The blood of my hands was a feeding frenzy in the underworld. My hands took the Lord's name in vain, and I could form words never even spoken before. So I took my hands And I wrote about the Prime Minister. I wrote about fields of dead rabbits. I wrote about alcoholic mountaineers, wrote about fucking a medical student, wrote about unsatisfying orgasms. The medical student curled his hand around his cock. The poem curled its arms around its wounded belly. And I ran back to my house on the top of the hill. Mummy and Daddy were eating at the kitchen table. Starved, I salivated over the hardwood floors, carved up splinters all the way to my seat. I flung open my notebook, and just as I was about to sign another black mark on the page, teeth squealing through a thick slice of back bacon, my father looks up at me and grunted, "Tell me. I need to understand something. Tell me something. You're the writer. How do you know when a poem is finished?" And I said, "God damn it, Daddy. You know I love you, but you have a hell of a lot to learn about editing."
Jonathan Kinsman, everybody! Stellar stuff. You can check out Jonathan's show, The Fireman's Daughter. I think they're in their Banshee Labyrinth, I think. I didn't get corrected, so that's what I'm going to stick with. Cool. So yeah, please do go and check them out. The next person that is on, you have already seen their show, because it's this show. So well done you, A+. I'm very excited to always introduce my Loud Poet buddies. And this year, I have been absolutely blown away by this person's work. They have really stepped up their writing game, something fierce. So I'm excited for them to get to wow you all with that. Please give all the love, make all the noise for the fabulous Bex Bidgood!
Whoa, this is crazy. This was Kev just talking about all the new stuff that I've written. I'm going to do an old one. This is a poem I wrote during my first ever Fringe run, where I was part of the Loud Poets team. And it still feels somewhat true. So this is August. It's August. In the true human way we crawl, blinded by the sunshine we hoped for, hopelessly propelled by our newfound love and appreciation of air conditioning. We seek liquid that's not sweat and attempt to walk the mile. A parade of bodies greet us as performers whimper and stress. Free improv show, free entry, it's inside. Oh God, please let me go inside. Tourists take flyers that fall from their slippy palms. A woman falls to the ground. Her friend kneels beside her, screaming, "No! No, not her, take me." Rows of locals pray, "Dear Lord, we pray that you give us water. We sacrifice this silent disco group in thy name." And seemingly pleased, the gods answered their desperate cries, and it was good for a while. 6 inches of rain hit the cobbled streets within minutes. The drains clogged with lost flyers means there is no escape. The streets flood. We see flip-flops, bottles, and buskers drift past in the streams. A circus troupe fashions a raft out of posters to guide them to the meadows for safety. The Cowgate floods. They're leaving festival goers trapped inside the maze of rooms. They seek the exit, but all they find are underfunded spoken word shows. We run, followed by another wave of rainfall we thought we were prepared for. Scotland, the land of rain, blinded by the waters we hoped for. We swim in the true human way. It's August. Thank you.
Bex Bidgood, everybody! Phenomenal stuff, phenomenal stuff. Now see, a lesser host would criticize you for coming in later. Not me, though. I'm a nice guy. I would never draw attention to something like that. I'm bigger than that, you know what I mean? I would never stare as you walk past me. No. Be nice. We're just glad you came. I'm not here to criticize. You got a ticket. You come in when you fucking please. Guys, we have one more poet to introduce you to. I'm a huge fan of his. He has been a regular at Loud Poets events for years and years. He is now running his very own show at the Fringe and hopefully beyond that with the wonderful Layla Josephine. So he is one half of Gubsmacked, which you should absolutely check out up at Summer Hall. But for now, please, just go fucking mental for Colin Bramwell!
Hello, I'll keep this first one short because I fully expect Kevin to come and body slam me if it's over a minute. So you can see I'm wearing my kind of young preacher of the year outfit. And so I thought I'd kick things off with a sermon today. So this is sermon. Not a real sermon, it's a poem. Fuck. Okay, sermon. Oh, but this unseasonable light warms stone. And here are seagulls chiming with the horn of a hurried car. Align this with the har, where the horizon's stopping short. This heart is from the heart. Brother, I am saying, trust your ear. See that pram abandoned by the shore? Don't fear its silent congress with the fog. Let it be part of the world. Let the world go past another car. Sister, I am telling you, this heart is from the heart. And I see this book so close to mine. I reckon there's salvation in it. Align yourself with the word, and you could win it. Thank you.
Colin Bramwell, everybody! Exceptional stuff. Those are your 4 poets for this evening, but it's no fun when they get to plan it all out, is it? When they get to pick what poems to perform. So we are going to run them through the poetry gauntlet that is Poetry Jukebox. If you don't know how Poetry Jukebox works, and why would you? What we do is we bring our 4 poets on, we line them up at the back of the stage. Our beautiful technician in the booth will throw up some random word prompts on the screen, and they will have to leap forward to the mic and crowbar a poem into that theme. Does that make sense? You've all seen Mock the Week. Good, good. So please help me welcome back all of our beautiful poets. You are a particularly fabulous looking group of poets, actually. That is, I feel I've let the side down. Okay, anyway. Poets, are you ready? Audience, are you ready? Audience winning so far. Step up, poets. Roddy, can we have our first category, please? Family.
I'd like to do a poem about my dad. Aww. My dad's a beekeeper. That was a very derisive snort. Get a real job. He had one, now he retired. And he gets to have hobbies. Hobbies like keeping bees. My dad and his bees. It's such a time to be alive when father opens up his hive to check on bees. You get the gist, the actions of an apiarist. So with caution and care to boot, he gets into his keeping suit. An all-in-one to do the job'll make him seem he's from Chernobyl. His smoker has been lit and prepped, and down the garden he has crept, until behind the shed he sees the corner where he keeps his bees. And covered, so his skin is hid, he gently raises up the lid, making sure to be aware swarms of Apis mellifera. The super's stacked atop the brood, and when he looks inside, he coos. All its contents gold and runny, every cell is filled with honey. Such produce you have never seen, from worker bee and drone and queen. To put it simply, there was lots, filling more than 80 pots. So there's a tale, told to please, about my dad who keeps his bees.
You want to jump in on that one?
Fuck yeah, squeezy mic. I come from a family that doesn't talk about things. I don't know if any of you do. Woo! Yeah, trauma! So it's truly impressive, the list of things that my family won't talk about, including the single greatest anecdote of all time. I've never encountered anyone who hasn't been like, immediately tell me everything about this. So the title of this poem really gives this away. It's, my great-grandfather drops dead while conducting a seance at Auntie Christine's wedding. Yeah. Think of it as a trick, and you'll get no response. Instead, you imagine yourself manning the switchboard, dials drifting beneath your hands, a fog of static trickling out of the headset and into the room, a soup of it strained through the glazed-in drapes. You are patching through to a citizen in another calling code. Hello? Hello? I have a message waiting for someone whose name begins with a J. You promised you wouldn't do this. Not again, not today. A good Catholic wedding, and you've the cheek to play at conjuring the dead. The kids still remember your last disappearing act, and these voices come through as a television playing in another room, terse and clipped. The 6 o'clock news bubbled up through time, a scrambled cipher of rotten minds. And the words are always the same. Forgive me. Please forgive me.
Beautiful stuff, Jonathan. Thank you very much. Roddy, can we have another category, please? Doubt.
I doubt this poem fits the prompt, but I wanted to do it anyway. Yeah. No, it has a longer link. I was raised Christian, but now I have some doubts about religion. And this poem I wrote a pamphlet called Poetry for Cows. There's only like 4 copies left in the world. They're upstairs if you want them. But this was about, during my doubting of religion, I was like, well, if we have religion, then maybe cows have a religion. And this is a prayer from a cow religion about a cow god, and it's called Blessed Be. Raise up your hooves, my friends, and let us pray. We will ascend to cow heaven. The udder mother in the sky shall one day return to rain her milk down upon us. Feast well, my bovines and boquines. Do not go hungry while awaiting the fluffiest, whitest hay from above. There was once a humble bull, his name unknown, his field small, his hooves dirtied from grasses grazed. On one dawn, while watching the sunrise, he beheld the heftiest of udders. The udder mother had smiled upon him, speaking unto him, my calf, let it not be said that I am unjust or unfeeling. All cattle shall one day be free to join their udderly mother in the forever fields in the sky. And the young bull travelled, pasture by pasture, herd by herd, spreading the good moo of salvation. And thus we pray to you, our udderly mother, divine she may be, let no hooves be unshoed, until you, our heavenly heifer, deliverer of the white grass, bless us in your dairy goodness. A cow. Thank you.
Wonderfully done, Bex. See, Bex has played Poetry Jukebox before and knows not to give a fuck about the prompts. Wonderful. Can we have another prompt, please, Roddy? Hero.
Yeah, this'll do. Sorry, showing open disdain. No, I don't have disdain for this. I fucking love this game. And actually, this poem is appropriate. I was just pretending that it wasn't. This is called On Being Pushed into Skara Brae. It's a real story. My brother pushed me into Skara Brae when I was a kid. He was my hero for a time. He's a piece of shit. But, when you have a piece of shit hero, oh, God, On Being Pushed into Skara Brae. It's also, it was for the Orkney poet and novelist George Mackay Brown, this poem. One hand arrowed at my back forces the step off. I land on sand. A cauldron of kelp thickens over its fire like a question. Even at 9, I outsize the rune talkers. Grudgingly they open my space at the hearth. I do not master their tongue, nor they mine. Song is present as stone. A ladder falls through space like a line. I climb the wall of sand into now, where my brother is being scolded for pushing me in. I forgive him over and over again in the car back to the tent. We sleep side by side. One hand arrows up from the great below. Stones sing into my spine.
Annoyingly good. It makes it hard to be angry at you for the crowbarring, Colin. Roddy, can we have another category when you're ready? Sex!
These buttons are undone for a reason. In Nottingham, I run a night called Smut, the Verbal Burlesque. Ooh. Content warning for filth. You must have heard of Wilhelmina, who when she came was quite the screamer. The empiric unexpressible, her pre-orgasmic decibel, and misery of the very worst befell the boy who found this first. As striving for his lover's come, he earned himself a ruptured drum, struggling forward as he unloaded. Tragically, his head exploded. And so began a precedent as set out by this incident. When coital passions heightened, Wilhelmina grew more frightened, and wished affairs would reach a stop before her partner's head went pop. But every time she'd do her thing, it always ended with a bang. She sadly took it rather slow, hoping boys would come, then go. And many men escaped this fate as being predominantly straight, never took her to completion, stopping with their own secretion. But Wilhelmina cursed her luck with only disappointing fuck, to fall back as her last recourse, plus dildos and some vibes, of course. Oh, this is my career. Yet even then complaints were sent, as all her moans had cracked cement, and word began to get around the flat was structurally unsound. Her partners had tried plugs and gags to muffle her during their shags, but did they work? No, not a one, as bang, 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 just like a gun. Spent, these lovers slumped quite dead, the screaming having split their head. But this fatale has happy end, as one young fellow with his friend, having met Willie in a bar, offered her menage a trois. Eventually she was swayed and headed back to where they stayed. The foreplay and passions rose. The boys each sucked the other's toes. Good for them. Then the trio headed in to the bedroom to begin a game of peak erotic twister. Mr. Miss and second Mr. Position swapped with certain pace, interspersed with sucking face. Whilst the fellas both were thrilled, Wilhelmina felt voice build. A groan was forming in her throat, a hurricane to rock the boat. Just before it headed south, she shoved a penis in her mouth. And holding tight through the scuffle, used his bell end as a muffle. At last, sweet Wilhelmina came, then another, and once again. As they turned the second hour, the boys high-fived. Eiffel Tower. Fixing Wilhelmina's trouble, they turned into quite the thruple. So if you've drawn out a fire alarm, why not form yourself a harem? I'm sure you'll find enough's enough when every single hole is stuffed.
Yeah, I think that's the one to end on. Big round of applause for all of our poets. Just when you thought Ben might be a good kid's show. That's brilliant. I've seen a lot of people do poems about existential crises. I've never seen someone have one while doing the poem. Exceptional stuff. Guys, though, that was Poetry Jukebox. Those are all of our wonderful poets. We are about to jump into the feature sets, but just before I bring them on, give them a little second to compose themselves. Hey, I did just want to mention that this is not the only show we're doing. We are doing another Fringe show next Friday, same place, same time, different lineup. But we are then, the week after, Saturday the 26th of August, we are going to be doing a huge slam at the Edinburgh International Book. One person, fucking yes, the marketing's working. Yeah, a huge slam as part of the Edinburgh International Book Festival. It is the culmination of 6 months of slams that we've been hosting all over Scotland. We have done regional qualifiers in Dundee, Aberdeen, Dumfries, Inverclyde, Inverness and Edinburgh. And the winner and runners-up of all those slams are going to come to the book Fest on the 26th and compete for a £3,000 cash prize. And if you know anything about poems or money, that's a fucking lot. We are very, very excited for it. It is part of our funded season from the wonderful people at Creative Scotland. It's a pay-what-you-feel event. So if you are interested in coming along to that, you can grab a flyer upstairs to the Loud Poet shows. One side is this, the beautiful Best of Fringe, and the other side is all the information for the slam. So if you're interested in that, do grab a flyer, come along. If you're not going to still be in town, don't worry, you don't get off lightly. We are doing it online. It'll be live streamed. So if you want to see it, you can still watch it. If you're interested in doing that in general, we've got a YouTube channel with just hundreds and hundreds of videos from our live seasons, from previous Fringes, workshops, podcasts, all of that stuff. So if you're interested in seeing a bit more spoken word, do check all of that out. But yeah, the slam is going to be crazy. So consider coming along. It would mean the world to us. But for now, we roll on to our feature sets. Are you ready? Fantastic. You saw him before. I have a feeling you guys are going to enjoy what he does. Please go absolutely wild for the wonderful Ben Macpherson!
So I'm up with the kids' show. Hi, how are we doing? We're nice? Good. Ba-da-lup. 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 Perfect. Somewhere in your home, in an overlooked cupboard, hides a wee little beastie you've not yet discovered. In a den in the corner of the uppermost shelf, the Battenberg fairy lives all by herself. Now the Battenberg fairy stands 6 fingers high, and out of her back she has wings like a fly. She's got short, spiky hair, bright eyes as you'd think, and her clothes are alternately yellow, then pink. But she's not some fairy who dances round flowers. Her nose is all crooked, her face always glowers, her pale lips are thin, and just underneath a fine little row of sharp, pointed teeth. At night, when all of the house is asleep, she wakes and gets to her beetle-like feet. Out of her cupboard she jumps as she titters, and over the counters she cackles and skitters. She goes to the fridge, opens the door, and leaps to the 3rd shelf, straight from the floor. She dances on food, right there in the cold, and where her foot touches, starts to grow mould. Green little spots, white bits all hairy. That is the spell of the Battenberg fairy. She plays with the milk, which curdles all lumpy. The skins of the peppers wilt and go bumpy. And a trout on a plate in the exact spot that she places her foot, that fish starts to rot. From out of the fridge to the table jumps down. She lands on bananas that start to turn brown. Suddenly, madness begins to consume her. She dances fandango atop a satsuma. Her tangerine dance floor starts to turn blue as the fruit in the fruit bowl starts to rot too. She plays with the flies, but you won't know she's done till her dance is disturbed by that first light of sun. For at dawn's early light, she beats a retreat with fast flapping wings and small jumping feet. Straight back to her shelf to go rest her eyes, she curls up to sleep in a magic disguise. And if you went looking, I'd forgive your mistake, as all you would find was a Battenberg cake. Good. So far I've rhymed a lot. I don't know if you've noticed. But I am a proper poet. I can also not rhyme. As a child, I was an outlaw. I ran riot with boys my age, our territory out of bounds, the woods beyond a teacher's gaze. There's architecture among trees, vaulted ceilings in a laurel, a cathedral under willow, the dens for packs of wild boys. Their self-sufficient break-time game, their currency of sticks and stones, and potions made of leaves and berries and knowledge which only children have. And naturally, there was war. A chaos lacking consequence. Packs charging down the hill to raid, ambushing each other's bases. A harmless bloodlust once a day. Mortal wounds walked off by the bell. Untold juvenile heroics, glorious to a 9-year-old. Enjoying the savagery of youth. And the world built on collected dreams. And face that truth, all schoolboys know. Die bravely. There's maths after lunch. Perfect. So I am a queer man. I am bisexual. That's why I'm dressed like 2/3 of the flag. That's sort of pink, mostly there. Need to stand in the sun more. And as a bisexual man, I have access to an exclusive platform online for social networking, communication, image storage and sharing, geolocation, Grindr. It's called Grindr. Perfect. And the strange thing about that, is that you get boiled down to your characteristics very, 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 very quickly. This is a poem called I'm a Fetish, and I think it's starting to get to me. A notification wants my attention. Several of them, apparently. The thing is, I know what they'll say, and I've got a pretty good idea who they're from. Hey, Daddy. I am 2 years younger than you. You up, or better yet, woo too, for those who don't know what you're up to. And the answer is always the same. Nothing. You're really hairy. Yeah. I love bears. Oh yeah? Got a face? I'm discreet. I'm not going to share it. Just my rule. That might be your rule, but if we do hook up, are you going to wear a bag? Or if we form a relationship, will you don a balaclava? Or have plastic surgery? Or blindfold me? Which I'm not averse to. That's your asshole. So are you really dominant? But still, what do you want to do to me? Well, the answer is hibernate. But you've gone on a bear hunt. You're trying to catch a big one. You're not scared. But you are. So I tell you what you want to hear. Hot. Blocked. I'm left alone, and I think to myself, I'm a fetish, and I think that's starting to get to me. So, as a poet, I'm there we go. As a poet, okay, it's not going to stop being heckled by my own mic stand. That's awful. As a poet, I like to keep stretching myself to try to grow and learn and do new things. So I've been experimenting with a new form. It's not a new form, it's an existing form. It's new to me. You know, like I went to the poetry charity shop and said, what have you got for 38 pence? And they said, we have this. And I said, what is it? And they called it a design. Or design, depending on whether you can speak with a French accent or not. And the design is a beautiful format. Horribly, horribly complicated with its rules. It's going to be a 100-syllable poem over 10 lines, and it's going to have the following rhyme scheme: A, B, A, B, B, C, C, D, C, D. And it's like, cool, great. Little nerdy things for me, my brain to jump through. So this is a design that I hope you will not hold in disdain. Don't do puns. We're here for spoken word, not comedy. Go to the other bits of the Fringe. Fuck off to Gilded Balloon. Early riser. Sleep is a gravel pathway underfoot. Broken and shattered it runs, morning bound, and with bare soles I wince as each is put on that jagged river across the ground. Another night disturbed by dream or sound. If I could lie there past the dawning of the sun, or waken when my restoration's done, bathing in the rest of which I'm talking, small stones forgotten with their damage done, till no more on gravel paths sleepwalking. It's not just filth. It's not just filth. There's a man behind the filth. Somebody give him a bath. I think we got 1 minute left. Cool. We're going to end with a sad story, a short, sad story. This is the tragic death of a pigeon due to greed, blind faith, and local predation. A pigeon stood upon a ledge. It cooed and looked around. It stepped forward, flapped its wings, and fell down to the ground. It picked at someone's lunch remains, strewn across the lawn. A passing cat attacked it, and now it is pidge gone.
Yeah, please do go and check out Serious Nonsense for Terribly... Grown Up! I'm like so opposed to the word grown up that it deleted itself from my mind. Good, yeah, please do go and check it out. I am going to be going to catch it this week. I saw Ben last year and was blown away. I am very, very excited to see his show this year. When you are doing the Fringe, like, you don't go and see anything. That's not the point. But I have like actively made sure I am going to go catch that show. So please do go and check it out. And like I was saying, the PBH Free Fringe does so much cool work. Jonathan is up next, and this show is part of PBH Free Fringe as well. So like, please do go and support that. Spoken word in general is the smallest section at the Edinburgh Fringe. If you look at the Big Ed Fringe book, that is the tiniest bit, and it is mostly in conversation with shite politician. Insert whichever one bugs you the most, I guess. And so like we try and show that like the spoken word section is maybe for, you know, spoken word. And so it's very nice to be able to platform that and see so many people like you take a punt. People will tell you it throughout the Fringe the whole time. Word of mouth is the best way to sell a show. We can stand on the mile and hand you flyers. Reviewers can do their thing. It will not impact as much as a pal telling you they saw a show and they liked it. So if you like these guys' stuff, please do go and see it. If you like their shows, tell someone about it. This one too. Like, we're not PBH Free Fringe, but we'll take your money. Don't you worry. So yeah, please continue to support the spoken word section. It means a great deal to us, and I know it will to our next performer. Please go absolutely wild for the wonderful Jonathan Kinsman.
I'm enjoying this. It's like you're surprised to see me every time. It's fucking great. We are gonna start with a really silly poem based on the old transgender joke. Every time somebody complains that there are too many genders these days, we add 2 new ones. It's called Some Possible Genders. Tag yourself. Ball boy. Girl guide. Motherfucker. Rat King, Her Majesty, MC, Lady Killer, ex-lover, godfather, grave cleric, cock jockey, cruel mistress, bootlicker, Jobsworth, test tube baby, yummy mummy, yuppie scum, anti-vaxxer, trophy wife, here for a good time, not a long time, do you have a light skin type, payload, homonym, I have work tomorrow, cheat code, phone it in, neoliberal, ex-Catholic, leaking pipe, Frankie says relax. Lie back and think of England. Bonus track, urban myth, past due, Prosecco flavoured, panic attack, panopticon, curb stomp, deck chair, kettling, high vis, give him an inch. Do you hear the people sing? If the glove fits, if then, system flag may have had sex with a man who may have had sex with a man. Hypodermic, intravenous, transubstantiation, scientific method, wisdom teeth. Bathroom stall, Eurovision, cosmic latte. Can I take your order, please? Alcoholic, VIP, wall to wall, on the boil, hands up. I don't want to fight tonight. Baby, it's cold outside. 2 kids in a trench coat, you spin me right round. I do believe in fairies. Don't call me brave. Feeling lucky, fire drill, union rep back in my day. What can I say? Lick it up, I'm not bad. I'm just drawn this way. Ekphrastic, biblically accurate perfume advert. Programming error, corporate espionage. Do not resuscitate education. 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 Section 28, cursive, 5 GCSEs, A star to C, your name here, day release thought, please digitate your medication. Temporal paradox, meat soup, messiah, mop and bucket, salt on the rim, strangler fig, depth charges, my profit on it. Supermarket own brand, sugar-coated swingers party, suburban monstrosity, fixer-upper, it gets better, point on the diagram, scattergraph, outlier who should not have been counted. Unexplained phenomena. Gaping maw. Astronaut. Brilliant brief being. Thanks. So I did this pamphlet of poems a while back. It's called Witness. I have books for sale if you want them. Just, plug the merch. I'd like to eat this Edinburgh Fringe. Thank you. So I did this little pamphlet of God poems. So I rewrote the apostles as modern people, and people are like, John, you're transgender. And I'm like, yes, well observed. But I'm also religious, and the two, are not in contradiction with each other. So this is Jude, and every poem in this book is preceded by a verse from the Bible, so I know what I'm fucking talking about. And the verse here is Psalm 72, verse 14. He will rescue them from oppression and violence, for precious is their blood in his sight. And here's the God Hates Fags Brigade, bumping against you, hoping to topple you, hands grazed against the concrete, bring you down, low and humble. Thad, they're smirking. Thad, my lad, what are you doing running around dressed like that, all pink and florals, floating sleeves and draping skirts? Jude, you see through clenched teeth, while they remind you how burning tarmac reeks, how falling bricks send up clouds of dust, how cities crumble because you kiss boys, because you rouge your cheeks when you're feeling brave enough. Their hands curl into fists, laughter threaded in their throats, because their wrath is not the deadliest of sins, it's your rainbow-painted fingernails. Ain't Jesus ever teach you that? You're screeching, take his name out of your filthy mouths, your blood on the pavement when they scatter, when blurred arms bear you down to the river to wash the stains from your skin. Healing, crackling over swollen cheekbone, split lip. Sister, I am with you. He's never once called you Thaddeus, seen your naked body, seen the woman with her flat chest, the limp flesh between her legs, seen perfection. He presses a tender kiss against your forehead. Sister, there's no such thing as lost causes. This one's called How to Walk on Water, and there's this weird fact that I'm kind of a bit obsessed with, which is that feet keep washing up on the coast of the Salish Sea, just like detached human feet, often like in the shoe. And they've found like 20 since about 2007, but like the records of it go back like a couple hundred years. You'll need the appropriate footwear. Usually a sneaker, a Vaporfly for the long-distance runner, or perhaps a pair of Air Jordans, but in a pinch, any old hiking boots will do. Trust them to hold you tighter than you hold yourself and begin to empty the body from your body. The water chooses the destination. A head rolls onto the Isle of Whithorn, a weathered femur with its vinegar tan buried in the sand of New South Wales. Long Island is a favourite for torsos tattooed with peaches and cherries, flesh taking notes from the coconut, conducting trials for propagation by sea. But it's the feet that make the shore, most often and increasingly frequent, cradled in a memory foam insole, as if the act requires diminishing faith. So I wanted to end on this one. I don't normally read off my phone, but I haven't actually written this one up because I haven't read it since I performed it as part of my grandfather's eulogy. I lost my grandfather this year in the NHS queues in January, 89-year-old man with pneumonia. The GP called for a doctor to send an ambulance within 2 hours. We were 48 getting him actually in a bed and being seen by someone. And this is a man who the country owed a debt to. He did his national service in Malaya without a choice, because, you know, they sent poor boys off to die back then. So this is a poem I wrote for him. It's called You Cannot Move the Mountain, You Can Only Shift the Stones. I am tired of transcribing these missives of loss. Instead, I want to write about butterflies, how millions of them migrate en masse each year, mapping a perfect line of longitude through the skies from Canada to Mexico, except for a sudden diversion east over Lake Superior, which takes the horde hundreds of miles off course. And still they won't glimpse the land before they correct like crows pulled back to magnetic south. There was a mountain here once, perhaps, that parted clouds. Now there's only a still unbroken, even by the flickering of wings. Their maps are yet unaltered, and so they do not falter from the course plotted before the boundaries of such states, before their wings were spun inside their childhoods, before a monarch was a monarch, and a lake a lake. The mountain in their memory shucks its stones, but still stands there, fixed in place. Here you are, just where we left you. You never moved an inch. We will not find you with our eyes, but we can chart you with the maps you drew across our lives, and we'll feel the mountain's presence every time we cross the lake, with every butterfly that never saw the rocks upon its face. And when they ask me once again to write their poems about grief, as if I know an answer for time's progress, I'll tell a truth that's all my own. You cannot move the mountain. You can only shift the stones. Thank you.
Jonathan Kinsman, everybody! Phenomenal stuff. There's nothing I enjoy more than hearing a whole theatre full of people go, the poetry noise. Some people like a laugh, some people like applause. I would live for the And Jonathan, wow, does he get that reaction out of folk? That was amazing. Please do go and check out The Fireman's Daughter, which is Jonathan's show at the Banshee Labyrinth. Pick up a copy of the book because poets, we can get so far on validation, but, we do need food eventually. So do go and grab that. There are books. There's a merch stall upstairs. Our anthology is also on sale. And our next poet, of course, has their wonderful pamphlet, Cows for Sale. Get those last 4 copies. But for now, sit back and enjoy Bex Bidgood!
Hello. For those eagle-eyed, and probably the people in the first row, may have seen when I was reading my lovely and ridiculous cow poem earlier, that my name on that book is different from my current name. Very recently, I got married. Stop it. That was exactly what I was hoping for. Thank you. So my name has gone from being Bex Sherwood to Bex Bidgood. There are Bidgoods in tonight. Thank you, Bidgoods, for being here. And during that process of deciding whether I was going to change my name, take a different name, some conversation about changing the surname entirely and being something really cool, were all present. I was doing a lot of sort of searching about identity and what name means. And I, as a poet, when I was doing some searching, I wrote a poem. So this is a newer piece for me. It's a little bit different from my usual sort of irreverent style, and it's a bit more personal, but I hope you really enjoy it. So I've just titled it Sherwood. Shortened down the first gift I was given. The 3 words used to identify me from my newborn cry in the hospital to class registration stating, present. I did not pick the first, but the second is the best. I puffed out my hairless chest when I chose Bex, thinking I get my much needed edge from the X, marking my spot as cool, my spot as new, my spot as... Who the fuck even are you? What's in a name when yours ain't the best? So at 17, I was feeling Bex. Off I went. A serial heart arsonist causing crashes as I strode my heels so high with my signature line, you must be this tall to ride. My friend sighed. As I flashed my fake ID, spent my cab fare and the club entry fee to barely touch the sticky floor inside. My stamped hand, splodged with black ink, inhale, chat shit, and I wink as I ask for a light. A fire and conversation starter, my night before disaster, blasé attitude to the next days, fuck Fridays and fuck you. Hey Sherwood, where are you going? Why are you so quiet? Why are you always late? This is it. I thought I had escaped, but now I'm cornered outside the school gates by girls who I know do not know me. Even though we've shared double biology for 6 months or more, they think I'm a bore and I'd be happy for that to stay the same. In my year at school, there were 3 Rebeccas, but that's nothing compared to the number of Rebecca-related nicknames. You could be a Becca or a Reb or a Becky with an I or with an I, and I was still known by my surname, barely distinguished from the rest, but that was for the best. I found my comfort in my very few friends. I was 13. Rather spend my weekends with D&D, rolling that 1d20 between us. We'd make shit up because the rule book was so long and life was so short, or so we thought. Each day at school, we'd play. What's the time, Mr. Wolf? Keep away and tag, you're it. We had 10 minutes until the bell would ring and some boring lesson would begin, maybe maths or worse. Ugh. But I remembered this day. Age 7. It was the first time I'd noticed, the first time I'd seen it. My hair in braids, my gingham dress green. It was kiss chase girls v boys looking teams, and all the kids screamed and giggled with joy. I ran so fast but looked behind and knew I was safe. Not one single boy had given me chase. I think it was the first time I felt ashamed. Right now, I'm scared I'm a bad feminist. I take my rights seriously and deliriously delight in voting, even though my chosen candidate has lost the elections twice, but it's my right. And there are those who died before, who burdened the brunt of this war, who made enough noise for our cries to be heard through ceilings of glass that kept us beneath. Those above who looked down and thought they saw us kneeling. I'm 30, and I'll cry and I'll scream and pronounce every word. We have the right to be seen and the right to be heard, but if I make choices that go with the grain, like, is it wrong of me to take my husband's name? It feels strange. Even though I get to choose, even with options I feel like I'd lose if I take his. Is that disrespect to those of history who I admire? And if I desire to say the same, my current name is not even mine to begin with, but my father and his dad's before him. I feel there is no way to win. When I was little, I could take flight. My butt clad in tutu, my legs clad in tight of powder blue, it felt right. I was 5. I would spin most gracefully, boastfully, rounded and glide across the floor in our home. In my head, I was fully grown. My arms stretched high, I saw myself tall and slender, the definition of womanly splendor, a dream kept as my podgy heat hit the floor. The room to fill with rapturous applause, stage lights galore, too young to see what others saw. Often, I forget that I've aged. My body's tired, my hair has grayed, time still passed while all else stayed the same. This collected absence, my mid-20s, were a wild time to be alive. Most days we tried, brought traditions back to life. Most nights I cried for those who went, for those who died. Stay inside. Keep your friends far and your family farther. You don't want to be a disaster starter. The first domino to fall, really you shouldn't see anyone at all. Keep your calm, keep your cool, carry on. One day in May, the letters came. Our future stashed with gumstop brown cardboard held the declarations we seek. Take a peek as the nerves spread. Barreling through lines, my cheeks red. I was so pleased when it said, "You're in." The highest at a school to send your kids, and I made it. And at 11 years old, we gathered in the hall and compared. The scandal broke when someone didn't get their pick. Some kids just straight up called in sick. One boy asked where I got and was delighted when it wasn't the same as his. My bubble burst. Coca-Cola, no fizz. The change of celebration to that grim realization of starting again, of being someone no one likes, of having no friends. For a new world to start, the old one has to end. Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to say goodbye to my name, that Robin Hood-esque claim to fame. Next time it won't feel the same, but I want you to keep the shame. If I lose my name, can I lose the doubt? Can unhappy memories be left out of this new one, this selection of intended reinvention? Pay no attention to the one before, but to start afresh. I did not pick my last, but my first is the best. I want no tension in my chest. My surname might change, but it still feels correct when I say hi. My name's Bex. Thank you. Thank you so much. I normally like to plug in between poems, but that poem is long, and that's basically all my time. So here are my plugs now. I was reading earlier from copies of Poetry for Cows. As we said, there's only like 4 left in the world. So if you're interested in that, that's upstairs on the merch table. And I was also reading poetry from the Loud Poets Anthology, Volume 1, very optimistic, which is also available upstairs and features poem from myself, but also Kevin McLean, Mark Alley, and Katie Ailes. I'm pointing to them as if you can see them there. That's where they are in the building. And I'm very grateful for all of you for coming to this show. We're obviously, I'm part of the Loud Poets team, and we do put a lot of time, too much time, into making sure that our events are as good as we can be. And we really appreciate your support. And we hope that you like what we're doing here, and we hope that you like the anthology. But I'll be upstairs after. It'd be great to meet you all. Thank you so much.
Bex Bidgood, everybody! And you should buy Bex's book, not only because it's, financially beneficial to me, but that is part of the reason. I am also in it. So yeah, go and do that. Check out. But grab Cows. I love Cows so much. It's ruined Bex's life, just so you know. Bex has no like special affinity for cows. It was like more like an abstract experiment, right? Like, can I pick an arbitrary subject and just write about that? And now everyone in their life endlessly sends them articles, pictures, tat they've bought from holidays they've been on, all cow related. Bex's house is this bizarre cow shrine that they do not want. Wonderful stuff. Guys, we have come to our final poet of the evening, which means we have one more poet this evening! I am so excited to have him on a Loud Poets stage. Gubsmacked is a show you should absolutely go and catch during the Fringe. If you enjoy this kind of thing, where it's a bit of a showcase, you get a bit of a taste of lots of people that are here, Gubsmacked is the night for you. They have rappers, drag queens, poets, comedians, all of that stuff, all wonderful words, all delivered beautifully. And I know how much work that takes to put on. So please go and check out Gubsmacked. But for now, enjoy the amazing Colin Bramwell!
Hey, yo, thank you so much. Thank you so much. Fantastic. Yes, that was a beautiful plug from Kevin. He pretty much did my whole job for me there. Thank you so much, Kevin. So I think I should have time for 4. So we'll do 2. Well, I have 3 pretty short ones and then a slightly longer one. One about an elephant, 2 about birds, and then another one about a disappointing encounter with an electrician. Covering pretty much all bases for you today in this set. So I'll start off with the elephant. This poem's called The Lost Elephant, and it recounts a story from my own childhood when I moved from Ayrshire up to the Black Isle near Inverness. On my way, my oldest friend, my childhood elephant, Trunky, got lost. And yes, it was a really traumatic thing, so I address it in my verse, naturally. And so I'll start the poem off by doing the face that I made at the time when I found out that he had been lost. Dreams that I have lost you in my home. On the cold march further northwards now, I cross another mountain pass alone. Elephants of cotton have been known to hide in cupboards when it's time to go. Dreams that I have lost you in my home, for I was 2. You were my homophone. A distant headlight moving fast then slow, crossed another mountain pass alone. And then you showed up, your fur the colour of stone. I could have sworn that you were all pink though. Dreams that I have lost you in my home, then wake to find you, marching out for Rome. Promise me that you will leave your shadow and cross another mountain pass alone. Your soft back shrugging off the soldier's throne. Another homesick soldier in the snow. Dreams that I have lost you in my home. Cross another mountain pass alone. Thank you. Thank you very much. Cool. Okay, right. We'll move on to something more upwardly mobile with a bird. A bird poem. This is called Corby. Corby is the Scots word for a crow. And so I thought that I would write the poem in Scots. So if it sounds weird to you, then that is why. Just go with it, lads. Corby. My love and I are hanging in the swing. We hear a single Corby spick and guess at its intent. Caw? Nae murders, aye. The Quate Park hods on to the cry, the wonder est the flock, unsteeking its portent. Craw. Mere comedy and with that vice and tragedy, but ainly when together are the twa content. Caw. We imitate the sound, wecht it through our human gowls, but we canna fang the meaning, no to its full extent. Craw. There aren't rules for crack wi' birds, but morphologies o' skellet linking up ablow a dark coat's discontent. Caw. Death is company. A Corby's meaning changes when alane. Here endeth Bramwell's lesson. Tak tent. Craw. Cheers. Okay, following on from this, we'll carry on in a kind of avian sphere. This next poem, I wonder. There's a book by Max Porter called "Grief is the Thing with Feathers." There's also a poem by Emily Dickinson called "Hope is the Thing with Feathers." And so this is a poem called "Birds Are the Things with Feathers." I've always loved an orthodoxy. But the older I got, the more I needed the world to be complicated needlessly by symbolism. When I was 8, I made up a song about an oil rig which began like so. Oh, the oil rig has lots of things for finding oil. Still one of the best lines I've ever written. Such promise. Turns out I wasn't special, but like many of us, I fell into the habit of making grand comparisons between utterly distinct phenomena. Couldn't a hawk be like a protractor? No. Back then, the only genre of revelation that mattered to me was the jump scare. All I wanted was for each word in my poems to be worth more than a feather's weight in time. Somewhere in the back of my head, the voice of a moron spoke. This is your one shot at immortality, Bramwell. Don't choke. But then there was some memorable incidents with birds. Once my father threw a stone at a seagull on the roof and cracked the living room window, revelatory to witness him making such a cloaca of himself. And some birdless. Once my friend lobbed a snowball directly at his own living room window, trying to give his flatmate a fright. Top floor tenement, class throw, smashed it outright. Genius. I can't even begin to describe the semantic function of these events. It's like trying to delineate grief from hope. One is a hawk failing to stay dry, and the other is remembering the thing's basically waterproof as it angles its head up into the rain. Oh, aye, it's raining in this poem, by the way. Sorry to mention that. Good old autumn rain. Falling as ever for no real reason today, on prehistory and kitchen window alike. Its target doesn't matter much. Its aim is true. Birds have 2 wings. This is grand. But here's Shuangzi. Don't let what is human dominate what is heavenly. Cheers. And last, and let's be honest, least. No, I'm kidding. This is actually my favourite of the poems I've written recently. It took me about a year to write, for reasons that may become clear. It's called 28th of February, 2022. This morning brought the electrician to fix our old extractor fan. A long-delayed, much-needed mission, part of a renovation plan through which the flat that we call home will grow less damp from room to room, and with the grace of God foretold, may be renewed before being sold. Just before we'd had our first near miss, the landlord's email came at 9, just asking if it would be fine, hope yous don't think I'm taking the piss, to raise our rent to, by my count, a just affordable amount. We blessed our luck. The clock struck 10. We'd both taken the Monday off. Hours passed. No sign of your man. Just where the hell was Andy Love? The doorbell rang. Sorry, delayed. Job overran. And that's the trade. An expert comes, you're in their hands. You want it done wrong, make demands. You Andy then? I asked. No, Dave. Well, Dave, here's a bathroom, pal. Cup of tea or not, I'm swell. We withdrew to our enclave. I eyed the news, but not for long. Dave stuck his head round. Something's rang. Right. What you thought was an extractor is not going to be extracting much, Ken. It's one of the complicating factors. It's just a pipe. There is no fan. We traced it from the water tank out to our close, which sadly stank. But when your block's an open door, you've no right to an unpished floor. A sluice cut in the building's wall was where the bathroom vented out. This news we could have done without. We'd lost a fan and gained a grill. Dear to replace, Dave Love explained. Then Dave Love left. The grill remained. And that was that. We had our lunch, leftovers from the weekend past. Pasta, curry. I'd had this hunch the whole thing wouldn't come to pass. With our unsteaming dream in tatters, the world drifts on to other matters. Ukraine, the garden, guardian, again. I turned back to the poem's playpen. When I looked up, it was long past 6. I promised you we'd go to see Jackass 4 at 5:20. Yeah, another problem I couldn't fix. The poem's ending wouldn't come to me. The thing had only just begun to me. But there you were, thinking I'd be done in time, thinking I'd remember you, on the couch with your boots on. Love. I would have sat there till December, trying to finish that fourth stanza, trying to come up with an answer to the violent stasis of our days. Spoiler alert, the poem's glaze burnishes reality with rhyme, makes things seem to make sense, then takes its own dull recompense by evincing artificiality. It aims for everyday anointing and tends to end up disappointing. As for the end of our own day, it was punctuated by your alighting, a Partridge-esque I love you, in a way. Leave the writer to his writing. Leave the alky to the bottle. Let the poor cunt go full throttle. And as the door slammed shut behind you, I called out in a sad attempt to find you, though, like a shitty Orpheus, it was my looking back that sent you down, leaving me in our damp flat to drown in guilt over my deaf excuse. Sorry, love. You can see I'm in pain over all this stuff in Ukraine. That's why I've had to write so much over the last 4 days. A sense of needing to do something. Such a self-indulgent self-defense. I hesitate to write it for posterity, but fighting it is worse. Better to be honest here. The poem must be a promise too, as jokes are only funny if they're true. Here's a final punchline then. You returned, we had it out. At 10:30 we went to bed. Said I love you in every way. This is what reality demands, just to say it. And 1 year on, I love you still, and Kyiv still stands. Thank you. Thanks very much, folks. Come see Gubsmacked, 9 p.m. Wednesdays at Summer Hall. Mwah! Flyers at the exit. Thank you. Cheers.
Colin Bramwell, everybody! Ho! So yes, please do go and check out Gubsmacked every Wednesday up at Summer Hall. Do go and see the other shows. Like I said, when you're on your way out, there'll be loads of flyers, books, all of that good stuff for you to do. We do have a few minutes left. I'm going to do all the thank yous at the end. But my dad has come to the show this evening. And I shout out for the Don. I do feel bad when he comes to the show and I don't do poems. I feel like I've cheated him. Do you mind if I do a poem? So I'll do one. It's a poem actually kind of about him. So my dad's very supportive. He's been coming to poetry shows for like 10 years. And my dad's like a proper guy. So poetry's not really his thing. It's out of love for me that he does so, and it means so much to me. But he's always been weirdly supportive, my dad, to his own detriment at points. So when I was young, like 17ish, me and my mates were hanging out, all my artist mates, all my youth theatre pals, we were hanging out at his house so much he moved out. Moved in with his girlfriend and gave us a house to rent from him to slowly destroy over the course of 4 years, which was a beautiful thing to do. It was exactly what we needed. It was that kind of place where, you're not capable of taking care of yourself, and through that you all kind of take care of each other, but live in filth. It was one of those kind of situations. We weren't at uni, but we lived a uni lifestyle. And because we had no classes, we lived it 24/7. It was a disgusting place to be, and so sorry, Paul. But thank you for being so supportive. This is a poem called 17. The coffee table has no glass. It is an empty frame in need of replacing, but we don't. It sits there for months, and every day someone places the ashtray on the ghost of the pain. Gut dropping, slow motion, a room full of smirking faces, gleefully providing no warning. No cracking, crashing, smash, just a cloud of ash and the seldom practiced task of hoovering. We had hoped the unopened letters piled in its centre would rise high enough to provide old wood new purpose. A stamp-addressed surface. That maybe drinks spilled would run red ink into black. I remember that balancing act. Moments before my landing. Thumbs pushing on tacks only for gravity to push back. The sound of my landing softened by the laughs. Only a few scrapes. No scars that would last. But I bet they're still picking glass out the carpet. And yes, it would have been easier for us to simply discard it, but when do you stop sweeping once you've started? Not everything shattered should be treated so harshly. So we rested, chipped mugs, tea-stained on the edge of the frame. Broken shards, slowly pulling ourselves together again. Thank you very much. Guys, this is it's what we love to do. As Bex said, we are I Am Loud Productions that hosts Loud Poets. It is our jobs, but is our favorite thing to do. We genuinely think spoken word is one of the most sort of versatile, wonderful art forms going, and it is horribly underrepresented. There are 100 of you here to see this, and that means the world to us, and it will mean so much to people who do not usually get 100. Some people only get a couple people in the door, and that makes their day. So if you have the time, go and check something out, especially the guys at the PBH Free Fringe, because you don't need to pay. But it means so much to them for it to have those audiences in those hard rooms without marketing budgets, without teams behind them, all of that stuff. So if you take anything away, please do take that. Guys, can we just get one huge round of applause for our beautiful technician in the booth, Roddy! For all of the staff here at the Scars Storytelling Centre. And can we get one massive round of applause for all of your beautiful poets? This has been Loud Poets. I have been Kevin McLean. You have been fucking amazing. We will see you again next time. Good night.